Nothing. Nothing but. Nothing but net.
Welcome to Nothing But Net, the podcast for triple net commercial real estate investing. Before we get into the meat of today's show, let's recap on why there's so much interest and buzz around net properties. Triple net properties are commercial real estate investments where the tenants, usually brand name corporations, pay you rent every month. Can you say mailbox money? In addition, they pay the real estate taxes, insurance, and maintenance for the property. No toilets, termites, or taxes. What's not to like? You can remember what net or triple net stands for by using TIM, taxes, insurance, and maintenance. With triple net properties, there's lower risk income and cash flow because rents are guaranteed by strong credit tenants. Preservation of wealth, because rent increases and property appreciation are bulwarks against inflation and a great store of value. Tax efficiency. The government wants investment in commercial real estate, so they provide inducements through depreciation and deductions which shelter income from taxation. Tax deferral, which gives potential for infinite tax deferral with 1031 exchanges, which are very popular in the triple net space. Triple net properties are a tangible asset, and as Mark Twain once said, buy land. They ain't making any more of it. Pride of ownership. You can walk into a beautiful building, be it a restaurant, drugstore, grab a coffee or some shampoo and say to yourself, I own this. Lastly, it's great for legacy or estate building. You can pass it down to your heirs or gift it to your favorite charity or cause. Once again, thank you for tuning in to Nothing But Net, the podcast for triple net commercial real estate investing. Let's get to the interview. Welcome to the inaugural run of the Nothing But Net podcast. Today, we're going to give you a little background and history on myself, Michael Flight, Concordia Realty, and Liberty Fund. The podcast is sponsored by LibertyFund.io, the first blockchain-based triple net real estate investment fund in the history of the world. I am Adam Carswell, and I would like to introduce you to Michael Flight. Michael's been in commercial real estate since 1985. He specialized in net lease retail real estate since 1987. He founded Concordia Realty Corporation in 1990, which is known as the Shopping Center Specialists. Michael has an extensive experience in development, leasing, sales, property management, and innovative financing techniques. Michael has worked with publicly traded REITs, pension fund advisors, insurance companies, publicly traded foreign real estate funds headquartered in The Hague, and family offices that control over $200 million in assets. Michael has been featured on the Real Estate Guys radio show, Cash Flow Connections podcast, the Real Estate Espresso podcast, and Buck Joffrey's Wealth Formula podcast, just to name a few. Michael is also a well-known speaker at Freedom Fest, the Investor Summit at Sea, the Intelligent Investors Real Estate Conference, the Multifamily Investor Network Conference, and the Lieberland 5th Anniversary Conference. He is a published author and was featured in the #1 Amazon bestselling book, Desire, Discipline, and Determination. He is currently finishing a book on the benefits of single tenant net lease real estate investments. Michael has been elected to public office and is currently serving in his third term as treasurer for the Riverside Public Library. He also serves on the real estate investment advisory boards of two nonprofits, Chicago Hope Homes and Sunshine Gospel Ministries, and is the founding board member for Freedom of Life, a Romanian NGO helping women achieve liberty and build new lives while recovering from human trafficking.
Thank you, Adam, for that extensive introduction. I'm blushing right now. Like to introduce the folks out there to Adam Carswell. Adam Carswell and I have been working together for some time now. Really admire this guy, and he's got the absolute podcast radio pipes to do this type of thing. So Adam is a real estate entrepreneur, a new media marketer, and a podcaster. Adam started in real estate in the Washington, D.C. area. Adam also manages ASIM Capital's education platform. Adam is a founding member of the Next Level Mastermind, a commercial real estate focused group of entrepreneurs. Adam is a noted LinkedIn marketing expert and has been recognized by LinkedIn as an all-star. That's one of the things. I just say he's an all-star, not only on LinkedIn, but in real life too. Adam creates educational marketing and media content for Concordia Realty and now has started that for LibertyFund.io. He serves both companies as the director of media and marketing. The cool thing about Adam is he currently resides in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada, and he has previously resided in the Bay Area of California, Northern Virginia, Cleveland, and Belize. He is also currently a resident of Liberland over in the continent of Europe. Adam also produces the Cash Flow Connections podcast, along with producing and hosting his own Dream Chasers podcast. He was also tapped by the people of Liberland to host the Liberland Show. Adam has notably branched out to serve and host as Master of Ceremonies for the Liberland 5th Anniversary and the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective, an online meetup exploring the intersection of blockchain and real estate tokenization. Adam has been a featured guest on too many podcasts to even count. He is a noted expert in social marketing and network management. And with that, Adam, I will give a little bit of an introduction on Concordia Realty Corporation, how we got here and what we're doing now. So Concordia Realty was founded by myself and a few partners, and we've been successfully connecting sound economics with experience in real estate for more than 30 years. Our wide range of experience has uniquely positioned us to redevelop and repurpose properties that are experiencing disruptions related to technology and merchandising. We've been doing this for so long that this experience has built a skill set to help us add value to all of our real estate ventures. Most recently, Concordia Equity Partners was created to provide the same investment opportunities and expertise that our institutional partners have enjoyed over the long years. We are a premier real estate investment and management firm that specializes in retail real estate, including shopping centers and single tenant net lease properties. Our newest venture, which I'm really excited, I can't tell you how excited about. That's how many reallys there are in there. Our newest venture is Liberty Real Estate Fund, LibertyFund.io, a blockchain-based security token fund. Liberty Fund is focused on investing in high-quality, well-located, single-tenant net lease properties in targeted high-growth, low-tax areas of the United States. We eventually want to expand that to other areas of the world. So we're looking to expand that to different continents. But right now, we're solely focused on the United States and North America. The portfolio has been specifically designed to provide stable, recession-resistant income combined with inflation-protected wealth preservation and equity growth. And with that, Adam, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, Michael, thank you for going into detail there on your background as well as our background at Concordia. And as you expressed there at the end, Liberty Real Estate Fund, a project that I know we're both really excited about. It's been a lot of fun to exchange ideas and network with individuals around that topic, as you mentioned, with the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective meetup that we have. So little plug here, little call to action for anyone listening. If you want to get plugged into that real estate and blockchain meetup that we're doing every 3 weeks, you can check that out in the show notes. We'll have a link to, again, the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective. So Michael, more to the introduction of our show here, Nothing But Net. The first question I have to ask you is, why net leased assets?
Well, Adam, I believe single tenant net leased asset properties are the best and most superior investments available based on a mixture of safety, capital preservation, returns, inflation resistant, passive management, and a hard asset with intrinsic value. We know from years of experience with these type of properties, that is single tenant net leased asset properties, are really more similar to fixed income or bond type investments because of their long-term leases with quality tenants. The cash flow of single tenant net lease properties are similar to bonds, providing excellent cash flow backed by strong credit and really good operators. These are like the top brands, in the country and perhaps some of the top brands in the world. So you can invest in like a McDonald's, and you can invest in it here. You can invest in a McDonald's piece of real estate over in Europe, Germany, Italy, Romania. They're a worldwide phenomenon. And so that's a type of net leased asset. Many people worldwide will also recognize Starbucks, which is also that type of thing. But there's also net leased assets that aren't necessarily retail. And those net leased assets can be industrial properties. They can be an office building occupied 100% by Amazon. And so the list goes on and on. Like I say, the best thing about these is they just provide consistent cash flow. They've got long-term leases. So that means that the tenant is contracted to pay you rent at a long term. And the best part of net leased assets, and the whole net lease part of it, is that the tenant pays the insurance, the taxes, and the maintenance for the property. So you as the landlord just get a pure return on the income produced by the rent. Net lease means that you are getting net income from the tenant and not having to deal with toilets, taxes, or tenants, unless the situation is an issue with the rent payment. That's why I'm really, really excited about it. And the other thing that I'm really excited about net leased assets is if you look historically, in most of the recessions, some types of properties swang wildly between profit and loss. There was a lot of foreclosures and all the rest of that. Because these type of, I'm going to call it a real estate product or a real estate investment, because they have these long-term leases, you don't get that up and down unless the tenant itself goes into bankruptcy. But for the most part, you've got this beautiful locked-in stream of rental income, and it's there. So there could be storms in the stock market, there could be storms in the bond market, and you've got this piece of property that's an intrinsic hard asset that's also just kicking off consistent cash flow repeatedly. Like I said, you're going to have to cut me off when I start talking about this because I'm very excited about it.
Well, that's reassuring to know, again, your experience working with these assets and how excited you are, because it shows that we are, I would say we are onto something special here. And another thing that's special, just a quick marketing plug on your behalf, and maybe this would be a little bit of a motivator too. You've got a book on the way focused on this topic, correct?
Yes, and hopefully that would explain to somebody whether they were interested in investing in net leased assets on their own, whether they were looking to partner with somebody and put together a syndication and buy one net leased asset or a group of net leased assets, or we're also going to explain how people can take advantage of investing in net lease assets without actually investing in them themselves.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, definitely looking forward to the release of that book. Everyone listening, make sure you stay tuned into this podcast because it's going to be the ultimate warm-up for going into the mind of Michael Flight.
And it's also a impetus for me to finish the book because I've put it out there that I am doing the book.
There you go.
So a little bit of accountability.
Well, we're going to flip it over here now to another topic, Michael, back to Liberty Real Estate Fund. My question for you is, why a blockchain fund?
This is one of the coolest things because you and several other people have introduced me to the blockchain world. I was aware of cryptocurrency and a lot of that stuff. I kept thinking about it and said, well, if I invested in Bitcoin, and I know that there's a formula and there's only so many Bitcoins mined and it gets harder, and I understand the whole proof of work concept, but I kept saying, at the end of the day, it's this thing that's out there that really is kind of an intangible. So you're kind of dependent on whether that actual algorithm works. When you get back to it, I didn't see a tremendous difference between, Bitcoin and fiat currency. And I believe me, I know that there's a tremendous difference between it. But I was thinking, conceptually in my mind, there's still kind of concepts out there. And I said, I really have always believed and understand real estate. And I understand real estate is a hard asset. It's something you can touch. It's there. They're not making a whole bunch more of it except on certain islands like Hawaii where, you've got volcanoes making it. It's a little bit dangerous to live next to that while it's happening. So what about, and then I heard about stable coins and, coins tied to gold and stuff. I said, what if you could harness and attach that like an ICO? And that, at the time they were doing ICOs, and you introduced me to some wonderful Romanian gentlemen in terms of them putting out a coin. I'm like, why couldn't we put out a coin that was a stable currency that was tied to net leased assets that were geographically diversified and also industry diversified so that somebody could invest in this coin that was tied to these particular assets and get a stream of recession-proof income. So that was the dream, that was the idea. I've since been on a long, strange trip, and you've been on it with me. My partners, Jason, Sam, and Jordan, have been on it. And we've been figuring out how to take and put real estate on the blockchain. And so we hopefully sometime in August will be launching the Liberty Fund security token. And so that would be available to both international investors and U.S. investors. So that's our goal, and that's what we're trying to put together. And this is being recorded in June 2020.
Yes, thank you for dating that. And guys, to follow up on Liberty Fund, the website is libertyfund.io. You extrapolated on the impact of I don't even say the problem, but what you noticed in the marketplace there, Michael. Is there anything else in regards to why you believe Liberty Fund is going to be successful, even though it's, what we're doing is we're the first ones to really do this? What is motivating our confidence?
I think what you're trying to get at, which are the benefits of why would somebody want to go through this exercise of putting real estate on the blockchain. And so some of the drawbacks of real estate, I am really completely positive on real estate, especially commercial real estate. I believe it's a much better investment, a much more stable investment, and much less of a casino than the stock and bond markets and Wall Street and all the rest of that. What we noticed was real estate, there's a lack of liquidity and there's a lack of a secondary market. So in our offerings, which were traditional securities offerings or syndications, when you do that and you invest in that, you're locked in for 5, 7, 10 years, which is good, but you can't get any liquidity in that. And so what we noticed with the security tokens is, depending on your jurisdiction, whether you're in the US or whether you're a foreign investor, you could actually unlock some of that liquidity by selling off your security token, either peer-to-peer, or you could sell it off in some of the secondary markets that are being developed right now. The other thing that we noticed is that one of the best and biggest and deepest real estate investment markets in the world is the U.S. market. And we've got really highly developed markets. We've got pretty liquid markets here in terms of, turnover of properties and things like that. We've got highly, from a standpoint of regulated with laws and developed laws in terms of leasing, in terms of properties being sold, in terms of taking title. And then there's also, Western Europe and things like that. But we think it's one of the better markets to initially start in. It's very hard for foreign investors, especially the average foreign investor, to get into the United States market in a safe way because, there's the confusion about 50 states, there's all kinds of different regions, this, and that. So what we wanted to do is say, hey, you've got somebody that has portfolio experts, that has property-specific experts that are picking and putting together a mixed geographic portfolio for you. So you can just invest in this, and you can be sure that if there's a hurricane in Houston, there might be a few assets affected by that, but it's not going to take out some of the stuff that might be in Florida, it might be in South Carolina, they might be in Nevada. So what we wanted to do, and also let's say there's a particular industry that happened to be declining, we wanted to get some industries that we know have some legs on them and are going to be income producing for a long time. Then the other thing that I've noticed, and I've as being on the board of directors for the Riverside Library, we just floated a bond offering for $1.5 million, and people bought that bond up in a matter of hours for an interest rate of 1.5%.
Wow.
For a 20-year bond. And I'm like, I can't believe that somebody's actually locking in at a 1.5% rate on a 20-year bond. So we believe our investments, and we're not going to get into returns, but we believe historically real estate has produced substantially more than that. and our portfolio is going to produce substantially more than that. And then the other thing is, with the volatility of stock and bond markets, why wouldn't you want to get into something that's safe, stable, that's locked in, that you know that you're going to get positive cash flow and all the other good stuff that comes with owning real estate? And then the last thing is that we believe, and especially the real estate that we're investing in has intrinsic value. We're investing in main locations. So it's the intersection of two major roads. It's the intersection of two major highways. It's where people can make a right in and right out, but it's a downtown type of location, so that it's, even if the tenant that we originally invested in chooses not to renew their lease or goes out of business, that these locations have value just because they're in the middle of everything that's what's happening there. And so people are still going to go to that location, and it's going to have intrinsic value.
Thank you for going into a lot of detail there. That helps a ton, just for clarity and the direction that we're going. And I hope that anyone listening right now, if you want to know more, there's a lot of ways you can follow up with us and stay plugged in. As we mentioned, the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective is a meetup. You can go to the link in the show notes. Don't forget libertyfund.io, as well as concordiarealty.com. Michael, can people go there and subscribe to our newsletter for updates as well?
They could go there, and we're going to be starting a newsletter with libertyfund.io as well.
Perfect.
So the most active right now, because we're just starting Liberty Fund, is the concordiarealty.com website. It has more than 30 pages of educational material on the type of property that we're talking about. It has a bunch of the podcasts that I've been on. It has other special reports explaining a little bit about it. So that's there. And then we intend over the next few months to have a lot of good educational material specifically for the Liberty Fund and also for the industries that we're investing in, and a lot more information how security tokens operate.
Thank you. And guys, also lastly, remember to subscribe to our show if you haven't already, and feel free to leave us a review and give us a rating. Michael, that's all the time we have for today. Any closing words before we wrap this up?
I just can't say enough about the reason why we named it Liberty Fund. Is we believe that real estate and wealth creates financial freedom and improves options for creating flourishing lives. We believe that increased wealth improves health, education, and our environment. We know that increased wealth helps in alleviating poverty. So we are really about freedom of choices, and all the rest of it. That's why we named it Liberty Fund. And we want to create liberty for other people to create flourishing lives all throughout the world.
Excellent. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in today to Nothing But Net. I'm your host, Adam Carswell, alongside co-host and the guy with all the information, Michael Flight. We will catch you in the next episode. Thank you once again for joining us here on Nothing But Net, the podcast for triple net commercial real estate investing. If you enjoyed what you heard today, one last friendly reminder to like, share, subscribe, or leave a review for us. It really helps a ton with the show's visibility. For the Nothing But Net team, I'm Adam Carswell. Take care.
Nothing but net.
The Nothing But Net show, Adam Carswell and Michael Flight do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. This material has been prepared for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide and should not be relied on for tax, legal, or accounting advice. You, the listener, should consult your own tax, legal, and accounting advisors before engaging in any transaction or undertaking. We highly encourage individuals and investors to seek the counsel of a qualified attorney, as well as seek the counsel of a tax professional to determine if there is any potential risks, tax liabilities, or consequences as a result of anything contained herein. We wish you success in all you do. Peace be with you.